So hello. My first question is, could you please introduce yourself and also the project you are presenting here at the Zeroproject conference?
My name is Dorodi Sharma, and I'm a program manager at the National Center for Promotion of Employment for Disabled People based in New Delhi, India. It's a cross-disability advocacy organization. We started off as an employment organization and soon realized that employment cannot be achieved for people with disabilities in isolation. Employment does not happen without education. Education does not happen without accessibility. And all three, employment, education, and accessibility, do not happen if you do not have the adequate laws and policies. And to have adequate laws and policies, you need to have public opinion, which comes out of awareness. So we started working with a multi-pronged approach in all these 5 areas: employment, education, accessibility, laws and policies, and awareness. To do that, we used a method where we looked at 3 areas. One where there are no policy at all, areas where there are absolutely no policies or laws. Second, if there is an area where there is a policy, but it's a bad policy, and so we have to get it changed. Third is if there's a policy, a good policy, but it's not being implemented. So we'd work to get the good policy implemented. And over the years, we have been able to get a lot of policy and laws changed. And there has been a substantial increase. I think substantial may not be the right word, a significant increase in the rate of employment of people with disabilities in India since the time we have started working in this particular field. Okay. Yeah.
What is your opinion on globalizing this project? Do you see any obstacles how this, when thinking about promoting this in other countries as well?
See, advocacy requires a lot of lobbying with the political class, be it the government, be it the bureaucrats. It's not very difficult, but it's not very easy either. So you would need to have a particular knowledge about the socio-economic and political situation of your country. India is a democracy, so we do have that kind of freedom to, use various tools of opposing. Obviously, not jump to a protest the very first day. We talk to politicians, we go and meet the politicians, the bureaucrats, and if they don't listen, then we keep following it up. And then we, if needed, then we have the freedom to come on the streets. Not violent protests, anything to do within the realm of democracy. This might not be very feasible in some countries where it's not very easy to come out and protest, but advocacy works, because if you do want to have sustainable and overreaching effect, so if you're doing service delivery, which is important, very important in some countries, but it can only reach that many people at a time. So if you want to reach the entire population or have an overreaching and sustainable effect, you need to get policies and laws change. So I guess the same method might not work everywhere, but the idea will work. The idea that advocacy will lead to change will work in almost all countries. So you might need to kind of customize the methods of doing advocacy, but the idea itself can be globalized for sure.
My last question is, what are your impressions of the Zeroproject conference so far, and also what would be your wish for the future?
The Zeroproject conference is a much needed initiative, especially because this year they did a whole survey and came out with a documented, empirical evidence of different innovative policies and practices, which is so needed in the disability sector because we do not have documentation. We do not have a ready reference where you can look up and see, okay, this worked in that country, we need to work in my country. So this is a very, very important initiative. And to get people from different sections of the society, be it corporates, be it the government, be it civil society leaders, to have them in a room and discuss and kind of learn from each other and share experiences is a very, very important thing that needs to be done, is much needed in the disability movement. Having said that, I also think that we will need to take back all this knowledge back to the countries where we are from. and all the policies and practices that are being highlighted, and all the people who participated in the study. So all these findings need to be taken back to the grassroots, because otherwise, we come here, we're all very well-intentioned people, we're all motivated, enthusiastic, but when you go back home, we should not forget that this book should not be kept lying on shelves and cupboards and on the internet. It needs to go down right to the grassroots and out to people. So I think maybe translating the study might be a good idea to do, and I guess also probably finding out whether people who participate in the study and the policies that were showcased, that people find it useful. So maybe a backup, a follow-up of this particular initiative can probably give us more feedback as to what can be changed and what can be improved in the future. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.